A Breakup-Divorce Introduction. When you divorce, you must deal with breaking up and the aftermath of it from a legal, spiritual, and emotional point of view with money, children, alimony, property, the car, pets, etc. plus getting on with dating again or being happy alone. Divorce is common. In my opinion, it's because people marry too quickly. They're smitten or desperate, then a year later there's nothing left but they hang on, either hoping for improvement or because it's a semi-comfortable existence, to be with someone you don't love for convenience, social reasons, and for a meal ticket. Divorce is good because it's better to split than to be with someone you're not in love with. I don't believe in love experts, but I studied love as extensively as any human being could. A lot of people fall in love with the idea of being in love because of all the media and cultural brainwash about the fantasy of deep romantic soulmate love. Most movies and TV shows have something to do with someone falling in love. Even the action-violent movies often have a James Bond type going off with the girl at the end. I already talked about the mental illness of romantic love in my love book. This is not a book about the philosophy and psychology of why love goes sour. It's real and pragmatic. As I'm writing this, I'm listening to TV shows on the investigative Discovery TV network. So many people kill their spouses. They're always the first suspect. Some people don't realize that if you kill your spouse, the detectives will investigate you first as the primary suspect, your phone texts, your phone and car GPS, bank records, your relationships at work, your internet searches, etc. There are surveillance cameras everywhere nowadays. Very few people get away with it. It's less of a risk to get a divorce and lose some money than to think you can outsmart the cops, get some money in life insurance and get away clean. On top of that, murder is evil. When the love or the delusion of love turns to indifference, then anger and contempt, you have to deal with it in order to live a healthy life. If you're prone to quick anger, it's better to walk away immediately when provoked than risk doing something violent in a flash that will send you straight to jail. I was at a friend's house. I had no idea he was having marital problems. 4 of us were sitting there, relaxing and laughing. She comes in and starts hollering at nobody in particular. If I had a wife who acted like that in front of my friends, I would get rid of her immediately. When it turns to hate, don't stay. As far as I was concerned, she married him for a meal ticket. Then there are the issues of cheating, adultery and online flirting. Monogamy is a hard standard to live by. The usual problems are money, children, and pets. Watch the divorce court shows on TV or YouTube. It might sound crass, but you should make legal prenuptial agreements before you marry in the event of a divorce. If you both work, keep separate bank accounts. Agree that the pet belongs to the one who brought it into the marriage. This is a practical guidebook for getting a divorce, including advice about men's rights and how to hide money. A divorce can be amicable. It should be, because we're not supposed to be greedy bitches and bastards, but there are lots of complications. You can't righteously argue that each leave with what they brought materially into the relationship, because if the wife supports the husband from the home while he builds a business empire, she's giving up that time and effort for him in good faith, so she's entitled to a good chunk for his fortune for believing that she is helping him achieve it as a team. People treat children like pawns to get back at each other. It can be a real mess. The best way is to try to come to an agreement together without lawyers or the court, then simply go to the court to make it legal. In my book about sexual freedom, activism, and rights, I talk about the idea of the hassle-free temporary marriage, which would mean that if 2 people marry legally, there is a grace period of 5 to 10 years where either partner can end it and both walk away without any legal monetary liability to each other. This whole thing about the finality of a lifelong marriage for a young person stinks. The laws have to change. Most women want the big marriage. Just look at all those bride shows on TV. We're brought up in every culture to seek marriage as the answer to life, even though Christian conservatives say the traditional family is being eroded away. Philip Zimbardo came out with his book The Demise of Guys, talking about guys not manning up anymore. They sit in front right of a screen, watch porn and video games. They don't want to date and marry according to him. The birth rate is down in the West, which is probably a good thing because there are too many people on planet Earth. No matter what, people are still going to be struck by love hormones, then 2 years later, they will have faded away, which is why marriage and divorce will not go out of style anytime soon. People feel lonely everywhere at every age. They will marry and divorce. Divorce is almost always a sad thing, but most societies throughout history recognized the need for it and offered this option. It's even offered in the Bible, although the Catholics are still very much against letting people separate what God has joined. Whereas other cultures have seen divorce as a practical thing, simply ending an experiment that didn't work, we in the West have attached a morally negative stigma to it, such that we equate divorce with failure, while I, as I say up ahead, think it's a good thing because it shows you weren't meant to be with each other and you're cutting your losses right now rather than going on in a mundane marriage. There is also some biological evidence that suggests that men are more suited for serial monogamy, several marriages over the course of a lifetime, because it's more in keeping with their biological imperative, be fruitful and multiply with a variety of different women. The most common reasons for divorce are infidelity, infertility, cruelty, usually by the husband, bad temper, possessiveness, unattractive as with the wife who got fat, nagging, bad personality, lazy, mentally ill, no material support, doesn't help out in the house, no sex, no romance, no emotional support, no friendship, abandonment, smelly feet, commuter marriages, long-distance marriages, children, the grass is greener syndrome, capitalist attitudes equating money and status with happiness to the detriment of love, the transient nature of society. People don't have roots like in the olden days. Loveless marriages are common. The biggest reason people not in love stay married is economic. Usually the wife either doesn't have a marketable skill or is too lazy to go out into the world to earn her own money, so she stays in a dead marriage with a dudley husband, and often the husband knows he has this power over his wife, so he keeps her to raise his kids and keep up social appearances while basically doing what he wants on the side. Studies done on social class in marriage found that if one is heavily dependent on the other for economic support, that person is less likely to cheat or initiate a breakup, but if neither needs the other to get by, they're more likely to cheat and break up. This probably explains why divorce rates have gotten so high in modern society. Women don't need men anymore to support them, so they're more likely to bail than hang on to defective men. The common pattern for divorce or breakup is that the writing is on the wall. Divorces are developmental. The deterioration of a marriage takes time in most cases. Even with incidents of cheating, the bad vibes were still all over the relationship. Regardless of this, it's still a shock when the players finally split. The jilted individual lives in denial for a few weeks but eventually gets the message that it's over. After this, a transition period starts characterized by depression, mourning for the lost love, even though some people report feelings of relief that they're finally free of this person they no longer love. Post-divorce depression could last as little as a few weeks for some insensitive men, or drag on forever for some women who feel rejected by men. Want sexual variety for 2 reasons. It feels good, it's fun. Biologically, they want to pass their seed on and reproduce as much as possible. In contrast, women need help to fulfill their most important biological imperative, raising kids, so it makes more sense to seek out a good man who will stay with her and help her raise the kids faithfully in a monogamous relationship. This is the conventional line of sexual and romantic coupling. In the past 20 years or so since the sexual revolution, it seems to have taken a beating because we now know that some women like sexual variety as much as men. Is this love of sexual variety simply an equal part of the growing up process for both men and women, after which women go for monogamy while men go for monogamy with casual sex as a continuing side dish, or is it mostly a creation of the media? Is it true but an overriding feature is the fact that cultural indoctrination and the biological desire to raise kids in a happy traditional family is so strongly entrenched in most women that it supersedes their desire for fun, frivolous casual sex? In my extensive research for this book, I came across one main fact regarding women's sexuality over and over again, which is drastically different from the media portrayal of it. Despite all the portrayals about liberated women sashaying around having a great old sexy time in the city, most women see themselves as monogamous and want to get married and live a traditional family life, so don't believe everything you see or read out there in pop culture. Except for a few years when they're learning about sex and sleeping around, women want to be in monogamous relationships. Men want to be married but still want to have sex on the side with other people. Women will cheat, but often for emotional reasons rather than sexual hedonistic reasons. When women sleep around, it's often not exclusively for sexual pleasure like it is with men. It's because they're looking for one good man to be with, plus to get material perks and attention from a number of different men to pad their purses and build up their egos. In many cultures, a lot of women sleep around and expect gifts and material favors from men. It's an accepted form of the world's oldest profession, prostitution. In ancient tribes, they slept around to get material favors, food, security, and protection from other males, and in order to appease violent, angry males. Men and women alike are sexually curious to some extent and will sleep around, at least during their younger years, until they figure out what's going on, then seek out a regular partner to be with. The evolutionary biologists think that the reason we went from a casual sex society exchanging favors for sex with whoever happened to be around for the day is simply that it's easier to ally with one opposite sex person and make a pact to share the many chores it took just to survive in the old days. People coupled because it was necessary to have two heads together to eke out a living for themselves and their kids. The logistics of the male-female ratio in terms of available, single people who want to marry favors men because there is a shortage relative to the women who want to marry, so men, because they're in demand, get to play the field if they want. In contrast, if you're in a society where there are a lot of men but only a few women, the men lucky enough to find a wife get very possessive and treat them like gold. This is the surefire way to avoid divorce. Live somewhere where there are few women relative to men. Alaska comes to mind, or the American frontier of 100 years ago. Whereas 50 years ago, there weren't a lot of single women out there to mess around with, they were all looking to get married, so a guy got married. But nowadays, he has young single girls, older divorced women, casual sex girls and single career women as a potential pool with which to have casual sex with, so he's not as strongly motivated to get married or stay married as he once was. The facts are that over 90% of all people worldwide marry, yet until recently, marriages were not meant to be monogamous. Most societies had provisions on the side for men to get extra sex either through multiple wives, mistresses, prostitutes, live-in housekeepers and babysitters and or harems. This inequity between the genders that existed throughout most of human history has, all of a sudden, in the past 100 years or so been wiped out as Christian, legal and societal forces in general push for monogamy, but you can't fight the true nature of the beast. Even though men typically like a main squeeze at home raising the kids, they also like to have sexual and emotional relationships with other women too, but, of course, the wives don't like this, so this is where the quandary lies, and it ain't going anywhere soon. My major argument is that in this modern era of supposed freedom, individual people should be strong and enlightened enough to realize that if they can't honor the monogamy dictum, then why give in to cultural pressure? Simply stay single, have your fun, and don't get married. Don't make a legal commitment and hurt some poor girl if you know in the back of your mind that you will never stay the course of the lifetime run. Even among sex addict men, casual sex players, polygamous men, and easygoing men, an overwhelming number have a favorite, which is not to say they will be monogamous with her, but it gives evidence for the one-on-one relationship. Men like them, but they like their flings on the side. Simply figure out if you've got what it takes to be monogamous or not, then go with whichever way you choose, and don't go into marriage unless you feel in your soul that there's a damn good chance you'll stay without straying or desiring to stray over the entire course of a lifetime run.